Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Here's a comparison that probably a lot of people that like the Smith & Wesson series, the M&P series, have been waiting for, and that is the Shield, the M2.0. So I can't really call it the original Shield, but it's kind of become the standard Shield in the current market, compared to what I'm going to call its replacement, the Shield Plus. Now Smith & Wesson has given no indication that they're going to discontinue the Shield, but looking at the two guns, there's really no reason to keep it around. So let's talk about that. So I'm going to remove from the Shield Plus the 10 round kind of double stack converting to single stack magazine that comes with it. It also comes with a 13 round, same design, but it adds 3 extra rounds, and you kind of got that typical curved base plate, and you can see that it has the witness holes for 13 rounds. And we've got an unloaded plus. Now, I picked up the original M2.0 and removed its kind of paltry 7 round compared to today's standards in these subcompacts, where you got Smith & Wesson and another, or not Smith & Wesson, but SIG and a number of other companies kind of up in the game. It is unloaded. And if I take the same half-inch longer magazine that comes with this, I get a whopping additional round, making it 8. That right there is really the biggest difference between these two guns in more than one way. Because if I hold these guns up, if I didn't let you see the plus, you would be pretty convinced they're the same gun. And really they almost are. Really the biggest difference between them is the magwell. And you can see it here, kind of stands out, and when I zoom in on the camera, it looks like a massive difference. It's really not. It's 0.15 inches. So the thickness of the original Shield, or the M2.0 that we've got here, is 0.95, and the Shield Plus is 1.1. That is definitely a difference, but it's really insignificant, and it's all in the grip. So at the top, these guns are the same size, to the point that the slides are interchangeable between the two of them. We did a video showing that a couple weeks ago, that really the top part, let's say from here up, is the same. So the part that's going to fit into some place is the same thickness. The grip is the same length, so they're both 4.6 inches with their respective flush mount magazines. So put their flush mount magazines, set them up next to each other. They're the same height. They're the same length at 6.1 inches front to back. So really that grip thickness, which you can see the shape, that kind of more egg shape of this kind of makes it stand out. It makes it really look, honestly, more than it really is. And they're different in weight too, and that kind of surprised me until I kind of thought through why. So the Shield, this one here, the full single stack, is 18.3 inches. The Shield Plus, this one that I'm wiggling, is 17.9 ounces. And I think I said inches on the 18.3, it's ounces. So it's a 0.4 ounces less for the Shield Plus. And I think the two differences that account for that is the triggers, which I haven't talked about yet. One of the probably the most noticeable difference from a distance is the triggers. And they likely made the polymer a little bit thinner to be able to puff it out, but not make it 1.2 inches bigger. So you probably got a little less polymer down here in the grip, even though the grip is fatter. They probably just expanded polymer. And you got a little difference in the trigger. So let's talk about that trigger difference, because that trigger difference is, in my mind, a significant difference. The original trigger and most of the Smith & Wesson and the M&P line use this hinge trigger, which a lot of people hate, and it sounds like you're going to get pinched all the time right here where it hinges, because you see it kind of tilts. You don't. I've never gotten pinched by one of these triggers in the Smith & Wessons, not once. I guarantee you somebody out there has managed to get pinched by one, but that's not been a problem with them. But what it does do is make the take-up feel kind of weird, because when you first start to take it up, your bottom part is moving and the top part isn't. Then the trigger starts to move. So it makes the take-up feel, for lack of a better description, squishy. Once you've taken it up, then you've got a nice crisp break, and it does have an over travel stop, but just kind of get where the light's on it, you can see that it's really not hitting that. It's stopping internally. it's almost hitting it, but it is stopping internally. Let's go to the trigger of the Shield Plus. The take-up is very nice and it's very linear. And you'll see that this toggle is flat in the width of the trigger. So when I push down on it, I don't have a point sticking into my finger like some, and it's long. So it's hinged way up here. So it disappears very smoothly and quietly, and I don't really feel it as I'm taking it up, and then I'm immediately taking up the whole trigger. So I've got a nice linear take-up. It just has a better feel. The take-up does feel a little bit shorter. The break it feels shorter and crisper, but I really do think it is the same. I think it's just the overall angle and feel of the trigger that makes it feel better. The trigger is flatter. It doesn't have the distinct curve. It's not a full-on flatty like you're seeing becoming popular today, but it's going in that direction. This also has an interesting molded over-travel stop that it doesn't hit, so it's stopping internally. From a reset perspective, there's the reset. It's a pretty nice reset. It's relatively short, and I'm right on the wall, ready for a break again. So it's a very, very defined, very crisp break and reset. If I go to the original one, which I had gone and put a magazine back in, there's the take up to the break. The break is a little bit creepier, but not much. It's not a huge difference. Reset is just a hair longer, and you're right on the wall. And there feels like as I'm pulling on it, there's a little bit of creep, and then the break again. Now, when I mention creep, it's very, very small. So what I would say is the trigger alone isn't a reason why I would pick one over the other, but I will say that the trigger on the Plus is better. It's not the difference between like one of the early 1.0s, the original classics, and the 2.0. It's not that vast of a difference, but it's enough of a difference to say this one's a bit bigger or better, which at least at minimum means they didn't ruin the trigger when they did this. Sometimes manufacturers, when they try to add new features or new capabilities, they go ahead and wreck the trigger, and they didn't do that. They actually made it better, which was kind of an accomplishment because the regular Shield M2.0 actually has a nice trigger. The rest of the ergonomics, the grip material and texture, and even the patterns and outlines, the scale, fish scale type serrations, top, front and rear, that's all the same. Flip them around, sights are the same. They're really nice, easy to see 3-dot sights. Both of these have just the regular white dots. Both of these are available with night sights as well. The MSRP on these is a difference. So this one, the 2.0 with the regular white sights and no thumb safety, is MSRP is $490, and I got that backwards. These guns are so close together, I got that backwards. I wiggled the plus. Should have wiggled this one. This is $490 MSRP. This one is $553. So the price did go up a little bit between the two guns, but interestingly enough, the weight went down. So 17.9 for the Plus and 18.3. Overall, I think the difference in the capacity and the slightly better trigger is probably worth the $50-ish, $60. And both of these, when in normal times, can be found well under MSRP. Right now, occasionally I'm seeing these under MSRP, oftentimes in places that are out of stock. It's easy to advertise lower price when you don't have it to sell, but you can get them a little bit less expensive. Of course, the biggest difference really between them is I just loaded 10 rounds. I only loaded 7 rounds. Same footprint. So if I'm going to carry this and I'm needing a smaller deep concealed gun like this, as long as 0.15 inches wider in the grip isn't going to be a problem, and honestly in most cases it's not, that same footprint gives me the 3 extra rounds. And of course I can easily pop the mag on both of these and drop 13 rounds into this one, or 1 additional for 8 into this one in the same extended footprint. So if you're thinking you can carry the Shield with the extra ½ inch of length, taking it up to about 5.1 inches in height, you could do the same thing with this and get an extra 3 rounds instead of an extra 1 round. 13 plus 1, 8 plus 1. That to me is a significant difference between the two guns. So when you factor in the extra capacity, a slightly better trigger, and one other thing I found, that extra grip size actually makes this fit better in my hand. And I can shoot the original Shield, the M2.0, pretty well. But this one, it just fit better in my hand. So I was able to kind of stay on target, combine that with a slightly better, slightly shorter trigger. I could pull tighter grips with this just because it just overall fit better. And that didn't matter whether I used the extended mag or not. So having a pinky rest doesn't really bother me. It's not something I need. But when you do have the extended mag, either one of them, this part's the same. When you have the extended mag in, you get almost full 3 fingers, depending on the size of your hand. And with the flush mag, your pinky is either kind of hanging on the edge or underneath or just out. But either way, you've got a small package that is a little bit easier to handle and control. And both of them were comfortable. Neither one was particularly flippy. Not any more flippy than any of these super small subcompacts are, just because they're lighter. It's probably, in my mind, going to be chosen over the Shield anytime it's available, especially if the two of them are sitting in the case side by side and you pull them out of the case and set them next to each other. And I basically got the same gun, but this one holds 3, 4 more rounds. Why wouldn't I? A couple other things that are different, and these may be some of the reasons why it at least stays around for at least a little while. The Shield is available with a light laser combo, a green laser, and a red laser. It's kind of a trigger red laser, and you can get it right from SIG. So you can get the gun from the factory with those. I'm sure you can add them afterwards. That's not available for the Shield Plus, but I'm going to add the word yet. Just give it time. That'll become available. The other thing, and I don't know what their plans are for this, the Shield is available in 40 and 45. This one that's in my hand is chambered in 9mm. The Plus is currently available in 9mm, and that's it. Whether that's going to change or not, I don't know. But at the moment, if you want a super small compact like this, subcompact like this, and you want it in 40 or 45, the Shield is your choice. If 9mm is your choice, you're probably going to go this way because why not? You get the extra capacity and roughly the same footprint. I don't know what their plans are to expand the market line to include the factory options for the lights and lasers, whether or not that's coming, and whether or not this is coming in other calibers, I don't know. But I do know if they start to bring the Plus out in 40 and 45 and it has that same rough incremental capacity, it's going to make a big difference. Though I don't know in 45 if adding 0.15 inches is going to give you enough to add a significant enough amount of capacity for people to be interested. And there is a Performance Center version available for both of these. I think the original Shield may have more variants in the Performance Center. With this one, I think there's only one version, manual thumb safety and some enhancements, ported barrel, and a few other things. But the majority of people that are looking at these are looking for concealed carry guns. They're not looking for competition guns. This isn't the type of thing you take to competitions typically. And of course, Performance Center commands a definite price premium, and they're harder to find. Overall, what I would say is if you're looking for a gun in this size category and you're looking for 40 or 45, the Shield is still definitely a viable contender. If you're looking for that same capability in a 9mm, don't even look at the Shield. Just get the Shield Plus, unless you can't get one, which right now they are hard to get, because 0.15 inches is not going to make a big difference on whether or not you can stick this thing wherever it is you're planning on hiding it. And that extra capacity is going to make a big difference in your comfort in that you're being able to deal with whatever situation it is that comes up on you. And I did find this easier to shoot. Of course, that's going to vary from person to person. It's all based on your hand and your grip and how it fits in your hand. Beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, click that bell up there to be notified if you do. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. We're kind of everywhere. Thank you.